What if I told you that the real way to become wealthy and stay wealthy is not by luck, it's not by skill, not by talent, not even from hard work. It's how you think. It's how you think about your personal finances, your personal situation, your future, and everything in between. That's where Think and Grow Rich comes in, and it's a great book. It's an all-time classic, and it goes over the 13 principles of how to reprogram your brain to be able to think about being wealthy and how to actually see it through. So I've read this a couple times, but today I'm going to go over the highlights of it, the 13 principles, and the 6 ghost fears that stop you from becoming wealthy. Let's dive into it. Okay, so principle number 1 is all about desire and setting clear financial goals. Now, the best way to do this is to define exactly what you want and how much of it you want. That could be if you're wanting to save, invest, earn, or even pay off debt. How much exactly are you wanting to get to? Now, you also have to be very specific when it comes to those numbers. Let's say if you're wanting to save $10,000 in the next 12 months, having that 12-month period is essential because you're actually giving yourself kind of a time frame, right? If you just say, I want to save $10,000, do you want to do that in a week? Do you want to do that in 4 years? Do you want to do that in a year, 2 years? What is it? Having that set time period and that exact amount is the first step into reprogramming your brain into making sure that you actually achieve and root for your goals. Now, a great way to actually continue to remember what your goal is to write it down and review them daily. This way, every single day, whether it's when you first wake up or when it's when you first start to work or you start working on your personal finances, you're able to remember and see visually what your goal is. That way it's not just lost in all the other noise. This is a great way that you can really remember what you're doing and how you can stick to it because you're seeing it every day. I have my goals written down, whether they're personal, career, whatever they are. It's a great way to be able to see them and to be able to continue to progress for them. Principle number 2 that's gone over in the book is about faith and believing in your financial success, whether that be your business, whether that be personal finances, whether that be paying off debts, doesn't matter. Even if it's your career, you have to believe in yourself and believe that these goals will be attained. Developing a strong belief in your ability to improve these finances. If you just have goals but have no faith in yourself and your situation, then you're just going to be stuck in it forever because you keep saying to yourself, it's not going to happen. I'd like for it to happen, but it's not going to happen. If you don't first believe in yourself, you're not going to have that desire and that drive to get to the next level. And then nobody else is going to be supporting that because at the root of it, it all falls on you of how hard you're going to work, how you're going to talk to yourself, and how you're actually going to achieve these goals. Now take a step back and just imagine your financial goals. Imagine that you have attained them. Imagine you've paid off all your debt. Imagine that you've saved up the $20,000, $30,000. Imagine that you've gotten that bonus at work. How does that make you feel? Now, personally, when I do this, especially when I paid off all of my credit cards, it didn't feel exactly like I thought it would, and that's okay. I lived with credit card debt for years, and so when all of it was finally paid off, it took a little bit for it to seep in of how I imagined it would be. It had that weight lifted off my shoulders, and I felt a lot better in not having to worry about paying everybody back. Imagining what that's gonna feel like, and then once you attain it, might be a little bit delayed or a little bit different, or it could be all at once. But imagining what that's gonna feel like is a way for you to keep going. It's kind of like if you have an idea of what something's gonna taste like, your favorite food, maybe your favorite dish, and you are thinking about it, and then when you first take that bite, you are blown back, right? That's kind of where this is taking you, is making sure that you are thinking about and truly having that feel of this is what I want because it's gonna feel so great. But to be able to get there, you have to replace these negative thoughts in your mind, which is a lot easier said than done. Now, you have to replace talking down to yourself, saying, I'll never be rich, I'll never be in control of my finances. You have to just get rid of those and start talking to yourself nice. Be nice, right? Because you're the first person to talk to yourself in the morning, and you're the last person to talk to yourself at night. If you started off or ended with these negative thoughts, it's just gonna keep on building and building and making the days in weeks worse and harder to attain these goals. So replace those I can'ts with I will, I will, I will. Now, leading from there is principle number 3, which is autosuggestion and reprogramming your mind for wealth, right? Like we talked about, instead of talking negative to yourself, you can start repeating positive financial affirmations or just your normal affirmations daily. Something like, I'm building wealth every single day. Even if you don't think you are, start using things that will help you continue that. Saying, I'm building wealth today. I'm not spending an extra $3 at Starbucks or the gas station or whatever it is. You're building wealth. Congrats. You're saving that money and using it towards something else. That way you can continue to speak to yourself the correct way instead of playing yourself down. Because you're a great person. I don't know you personally, but I know that you can achieve what you're looking for. You're already watching this video to learn more about how to reprogram your brain. See, look, there you go. You will learn every single day. You will build wealth every single day. Now, there's going to be some bad days. There's going to be days that you might spend an extra 50 bucks here, 20 bucks there, whatever it is. Pick yourself up, on to the next one. I am building wealth every single day. And a great way to continue that is by surrounding yourself with financial education, whether that's podcasts, that's books, that's YouTube videos, that's mentors. A great way to continue to learn. And so that way, when you say, I am building wealth every day, you're putting some fundamentals that you've learned behind that to continue to grow that. And that way it seeps in deeper and deeper, and you're able to continue to grow and build that wealth. Now, one thing that I know a lot of people do enjoy is keeping a vision board. I've never been the biggest fan of vision boards. I understand how they can help, and I have a lot of friends and family and mentors that they enjoy their vision boards. And there's also some that don't, and that's okay. If you are more of a visual learner and you like to see your goals laid out, whether it's buying a house, whether it's paying off debt, whether it's making sure that your finances are in order, having that vision board can be a great daily reminder and a great booster for when you're going for these goals. Okay, so now you're learning, you're developing more, and we go into principle number 4, which is specialized knowledge and learning how money works. Now, this can be just educating yourself on investing, budgeting, credit, taxes, credit cards, whatever it is. It's something that you can learn to be more financially aware and just build your knowledge on how this is going to happen. That way you're able to avoid these potholes and continue driving on the roadmap, right? It's a good way to look at it. You are able to see more opportunities, and you're able to understand kind of what's going on instead of just somebody telling you this and this and that. You're able to start to decipher these because you're learning more and more about them. And a great way to do that is kind of going back to what we talked about, is learning from experts, whether that's books, courses, YouTube videos, mentors that you trust, and learning more and more. This will help you develop a more specialized mind of what it is that you're trying to do. Now, I would suggest learning one portion at a time. Don't try to learn everything all at once, or else nothing's really going to stick. I would really stick to one subject. Maybe it's taxes, paying off debt, credit cards, taxes. I think I already said that. Whatever it is that you enjoy or that you want to learn more about, start there and really dive deep into it. And then once you feel comfortable with it, move on to the next one. Now, while you're doing all this, it's going to be pretty easy for you to stay updated on financial trends and opportunities. Like, what are good investments? What are good ways to get your taxes down? What's a great credit card that can help bring rewards without putting you further into debt? And what's great budgeting methods? This is a great way that you can continue to evolve with your personal finances, because let's face it, the world's changing every single day. Different laws, rules, and regulations, different trends for finances and how money is being used every single day. It's a great way for you to stay on top of this and be able to go with the curve instead of going off the edge when everything takes a sharp left turn. Now, while you're looking for these new opportunities, that's when principle 5 comes into play, and it's imagination and thinking creatively about money. Not just that the only way to do it is by going to get a 9-to-5 job or having to go self-employed and sell all of this, right? Thinking different ways of how to actually earn your income, whether that's side hustles, whether that's investing, real estate, or starting your own business. Ways to be able to creatively make money is a great way to add more into your pocket, whether that's using it to invest, pay down debt, whatever it is. Either way, you're able to build more wealth because you're not just using the traditional methods, but you're thinking outside of the box. Which brings us to the next one, which is thinking outside of the box and cutting expenses. You find smarter ways to save without sacrificing lifestyles. And a lot of times you think, oh, how can I do this? Well, it could be looking at different insurance programs, or maybe looking at different healthcare options if that's available to you, or just cutting down with things that you don't really need and building from there. Like we talked about earlier, maybe you can start making coffee at home instead of spending $3 a day at Starbucks or however expensive it's gotten to now. Personally, I enjoy making my coffee in the morning. It's that small amount of time that I allow myself to just kind of be in the zone. I used to own a coffee business and a coffee shop, so I enjoy the coffee process. I enjoy grinding my own beans and going through the flavors, and just that simple time saves money, but it's also something I really enjoy. So maybe yours could be something for the gym, or maybe it's car insurance, or maybe it is coffee. It's something that you can dive into, and it's a great way that you don't have to sacrifice too much, but you're cutting a lot more than you're expecting. Now, another creative way to do it, and I would definitely look deeper into it before just diving into something, is looking at different ways that you can invest instead of just a regular savings account. I enjoy high yield savings accounts, which helps you get more bang for your buck in a sense. The simple way to explain it is you have a higher interest rate when it comes to these savings accounts compared to traditional savings accounts. You could also look at things like Acorns, which every time you spend $1, it rounds up to the nearest dollar and invests that money for you. And it's a great way that you're adding cents here and there, but it's also investing and helping you save without you ever having to look at it. Now, you can also have reoccurring payments that go into it, or reoccurring deposits, and that way you are having that just go straight into there. It could be like $1, $5. I think the minimum is $5. I could be wrong, but I have $5 that goes in every single week, and so it's just automatically saving and investing that for me. I also have it turned on to where every time I do spend, let's say $1.50, then 50 cents is automatically from my account invested for me. And it's a great way where I just don't look at it. I have it set to my preferred risk assessment, and it invests like that. And it's something that is just continuously building up for me. Now, this can change depending on how the market goes, just like any investment, right? If the market's going down, these investments could be going down. But to say the least, it's a great way that it can still continue to grow and at a more creative way than just your regular savings account that you're not making much, if any, from. Principle number 6 is organized planning and building a financial roadmap. You need to have a plan of what you're trying to do. Creating a step-by-step plan for reaching financial independence is important, because if you just say, hey, I want to save $10,000 in 12 months, awesome, let's get to it. How are you going to do it? How are you going to go from 0 to 10,000? How are you going to go from 0 to 1,000? Having a step-by-step plan of how you're going to achieve these goals, instead of just saying, I want to do this, I'm going to do this, is how you get to those points. It's also a great way that you can actually see your progress and what you might need to change and what you can add into it. Organized planning also means setting up a budget, emergency fund, if you need to, a debt repayment plan, and investment strategy. This goes back into having exactly what you're going to be doing laid out. So that way you know where this money's going. If there's an emergency, you know that you don't have to deviate from what you're doing, and you can pull that out of the emergency fund and then have a plan to add that back in. Whatever that may be. Maybe it's cutting costs here. Maybe it's doing another side hustle and having that money go in for the time being. It's a great way that you can stay on track. And like I said, track your progress so you know what you need to do, how you need to do it. Now, like I talked about on Acorns, having those automatic savings and investments is a great way to stay consistent, right? I don't look at it. I just get in there every now and then to check, but I have it automatically withdrawing every week. And then also every time I'm purchasing something with my debit card, it's automatically rounding it up in there and going straight in. I have that as well with other investments, but Acorns is the simplest one to actually use. And you know, it's not pulling out huge chunks at a time. I think usually what it does is if you spend $1.50, it says, okay, 50 cents is going in, but it waits until you hit like a certain amount that it pulls it all out together. So you're not having 50 cents here, 24 cents here, 32 cents here, but it makes it a full on like $5. I think that might be what the minimum again is. Definitely check it out. This isn't sponsored by it at all. I just really enjoy Acorns, and it's something I've used since probably 2017, 2018. And it's a great way just to continue to let that grow and not even worry about it. I would definitely continue to check on its progress like anything else, but it's a great way to just have that automated and have it just be consistently helping build up that savings. So now we're going to move into principle number 7, which is decisions and taking control of your financial future. It is important that you stop procrastinating and start today. That's probably the biggest thing that I ever say on this channel is don't wait till tomorrow, don't wait till next week, start today. Whether that's budgeting, investing, saving, getting your debt paid off, start today. Start early and start often. That's the best way to be able to attack all of this debt, savings. It's by just starting. If you think about it, you're going to talk yourself out of it all the time. You're going to continuously say, well, I need to be doing this before I can do this. I need to do this before I can do this. And then you're just stuck in a cycle of saying, I want to, how, I can't. I want to, how, I can't. It's a cycle. I know that cycle is supposed to be like 4, but I only thought of 3 right there. Anyway, continuously just making sure that you are starting is a great way to actually get things going. Because if you just procrastinate, you're just going to be stuck in the same spot all the time. Now, a big thing when it comes to personal finance is being decisive. If you're going to cut something that's unnecessary, stick to it. Don't say, oh, I'm going to cut this for a couple weeks, and then you go right back to like, oh, well, you know what, never mind, I'm not going to do that. You want to be consistent with what you're doing, especially when it's working. Now, if it's something that you can adjust and you're able to do better somewhere else, then that's perfectly fine. But you have to have that self-control of cutting unnecessary expenses and continuously sticking to your plan. If you make a roadmap and then go 40 miles right when it said go 5 miles east, you're not going to be on track. You're going to be way off, and then your budgeting, your savings, your debt repayment, none of it's going to make sense, and it's going to feel like it's getting worse, and it possibly could be. Now, when being decisive, you have to make these confident financial decisions that do affect your future and stop overanalyzing or waiting for the perfect time. There's never going to be a perfect time. You have to just start and learn from your experiences. You're already working on your financial education, learning all of this stuff, and diving deep into specific topics. You have to quit overanalyzing it. You have to just be able to stick to your decisions and just not wait for that perfect time, because the perfect time does not exist. The perfect time, if there is one, is now, is starting it now, sticking to it, and adjusting as necessary. Which leads us into principle number 8, which is persistence and staying committed to your financial growth. That's the whole point of even starting it, is it's not to get rich overnight. It's not to get rich in 2 weeks. It's to start, stay persistent, and grow your wealth, right? You think about it and then you grow it. Think and grow rich. Now, sticking to it can be difficult when things go wrong. Unexpected expenses happen every single day. They are a part of life, and it's never going to change. No matter if you make $10,000 a year or if you make $100,000 a year, unexpected expenses come up. It's about adjusting to that and finding what the best way to approach it is. Whether that's using your emergency fund, whether that's having a side hustle or a side job that you're able to pay things off. That is what it's about, sticking to that budget no matter what happens. And this is a great way that you can overcome setbacks like a job loss. Maybe you go immediately get something that you're not as fond of, but it's something that can help pay the bills, help pay off debt, help save, whatever it is. It's a great way that you can stay focused on that long-term success, even if that means that you're gonna go get a job at Lowe's for 4 to 5 months while you look for something else. Maybe it's a great way to learn more experiences, to meet new people, but also, like I said, it's to keep you on track of all the things that you're needing to do. And like I said, wealth building is not an overnight get rich quick scheme. It takes time. You're in it for the long haul. So when you start today, do not expect it to happen tomorrow, next week, next month, maybe not even next year or even the next 5 years. It is to build wealth so that way you can have control on your finances. Everybody's roadmap is going to look different. Everybody's goals are going to look different. Their time frames are going to look different. Don't worry about theirs. You stay focused on yours, and when the time comes, you're going to be there for it. You're going to be proud of yourself for getting there, and you'll be able to say, I did it, I made it, and now I can stick to what I'm doing to continue to have an enjoyable life. And a great way to have this is mastermind groups and surrounding yourself with financially smart people. The old saying is, if you show me your 5 closest friends, I can show you what your future looks like. Meaning that the people that you surround yourself with are who you think like, are who you do things like, of how you purchase things. If you're around people who every time they get a paycheck, they go and blow it, and then they're waiting and they can't afford some things coming up, maybe that's what happens to you. But if you surround yourself with people who are budgeting, who are sticking to financial roadmaps, and they are continuously working on improving themselves and their finances, that is what you're going to be doing. It's what you're going to be surrounded with, and it's going to be able to help you learn how to be able to do more than that. Learning from those who have achieved financial success means that they have different experiences, and they can help you navigate things that might be similar to theirs or something that can come up in the future that you're already prepared for. It doesn't mean it's going to be the exact same, but it's a great way to have traction going into issues that happen, or even how to navigate things that are good, but too much of it could be bad, right? You get maybe a $10,000 raise at work and you think, oh man, I can go buy that boat now. But having people surrounded saying, hey, I've done that, and it's not what it is, it's another $40,000, $30,000 because of that boat. Use that and be able to take your family on a nice vacation, and then the other half of it, invest it so that way it's already growing at a rapid pace. And again, this could be completely different, but it goes back into surrounding yourself with people who have been there in those specific situations before. A great way to do it is to join communities focused on personal finance and investing, or even debt consolidations or debt repayments. It's so you can learn of how people have gotten into things and out of things. Like I said, I was in debt for consumer debt for a few years, and I got out of it at one point once I sold my coffee company, and then went into real estate and went right back into it because it wasn't consistent and I didn't understand how to budget on commission type of work. Now, after a few years, I was able to pay that off and really get on track. And it took experience, learning from my mistakes, not talking negative to myself, and really talking to other real estate agents who had been in that situation, and they helped me kind of get back on track of how to budget, use the paychecks, and go from there. Now, negative influences like gurus who keep trying to promise that you can get rich overnight or never work another day in your life, all of this, those are going to be your negative influences. A lot of the times they're doing that because it didn't work for them, but they can try to convince people that it will, and now you're paying for a $2,500 course that is not helping you at all. It's a sketchy webcam footage of them screen recording on Shopify. Avoid these negative influences, and once you start doing more research into different topics, you'll be able to identify them a lot easier. Okay, so if you read this book, principle number 10 is gonna be a little bit different than just channeling energy into productivity. I'm gonna keep this one PG-13, so if you read the book, just know it's gonna be a tiny bit different. Just a heads up. But the whole point of principle number 10 is redirecting your motivation, focus, and discipline into financial success. It's using this energy that you would use for other things that don't really matter as much or that can hold you back, and putting that into your success. Instead of impulse spending, use that energy to research and build new income streams. Maybe it's side hustles, maybe it's getting a second job, maybe it's investing. But using that energy, instead of using it for something that's gonna last maybe 20, 30 minutes or a few days, use it to build wealth instead of cut yours down. Now, I know that this one seems a little bit more difficult when it's finding productive hobbies that save money instead of spending it. There's a lot of hobbies that it costs a lot to really get into it or to maintain gear or equipment, and that's okay to actually have those. but not 4 or 5 of them that are costing you thousands of dollars a month. Maybe find some that they're helping you build wealth, maybe some that are actually making you money. If you really enjoy fishing, then maybe you go and start a small course of how to fish or how to bait correctly, or maybe different lakes that you're reviewing. Whatever it is, make that hobby, even if you don't find one that is already productive, find yours and make it productive from there. It's a great way that you can kind of flip the script on it just costing you money, but instead you're still getting joy out of it, as well as either saving money or maybe even making some at the same time. Principle number 11 really goes back into your subconscious mind, and it's developing a wealth mindset. This is training your brain to see those opportunities for your financial goals. Now, this can be making sure that you're looking at different areas, that it's a different job, it's a different side hustle, changing those hobbies into productive hobbies. Whatever it is you're training your brain to look for these instead of just letting it go straight by. You'll start to see the different opportunities. Maybe it's investing, maybe it's in budgeting, maybe it's saving, maybe you see some great opportunities to help pay off your debt even faster or more effectively. And a great way to do this is by replacing that scarcity thinking of, I can't afford this, and start thinking, how can I afford this? I really want to go get a new pair of shoes, but I only have $50 that I can spend, and these are $154. Okay, what's a great way that you can go and be able to afford this? Maybe it's by reselling some of the older ones that you have. Maybe it's by getting a side hustle. Maybe it's by starting a YouTube channel. That's not why I started this, even though I have like the shoe light back there. I used to be into shoes, like a really big sneakerhead, but actually sold those to be able to start my coffee company. So again, couldn't afford it at the time, but sold my sneaker collection and was able to start that up. So not, I can't do this, I can't afford this, to how can I do that? How can I afford this? You also have to regularly remind yourself of your progress and your goals, which the vision board and having those goals written down is a great way to continue to remind yourself about that, right? Because you need to be able to see this progress and see the steps that are coming and what you're still going for. Because you have to have those goals and that step-by-step roadmap in place to be able to track the progress and see how far you've come. And it's also a great booster to say, man, I've saved $5,000. I'm also a month ahead of it. Like, awesome. I've paid down an extra $1,600 when I wasn't supposed to do that for another 2 months. Now, it could also be like, hey, I'm a month behind on this one. I was supposed to be here, but I'm only here. Okay, how can we get there? How can we adjust our lifestyle? How can we adjust what we're saving, what we're spending? How can we get there to be able to catch up to it? And that's a great way that you're able to reprogram your conscious mind, your subconscious mind, to be able to get there, because you're not talking down to yourself. That's the biggest thing to remember for this, is you have to be nice to you before anybody else can. Principle number 11 goes back into that knowledge of the brain and staying open to new financial knowledge, right? You want to keep learning about personal finances, taxes, and wealth building strategies, because even though it works today, maybe it doesn't work as well tomorrow. Maybe once you start building on it and you get to a new point in life, maybe those first few don't work as well. Maybe there's something that you need to adjust to be able to do that. Another great way to be able to learn more about topics is by sharing them. You will always be able to learn at a deeper level once you share your knowledge and you're able to teach it. Instead of just regurgitating something you hear, you're able to actually explain it and help others understand, which in your mind will help you understand even more. Adapting to financial change is like what we talked about, where something that might work today won't work 10 years in the future. Maybe something that works when you first start budgeting doesn't work in 3 to 4 months because of different lifestyles, or maybe raises, or you got a different job and you're making a little bit less. Being able to adapt to that helps stay on that progress. It helps continue to work through that roadmap and get to where you're going. And finally, the 13th principle is your sixth sense. At this point, you've been learning, you've been growing, you've been joining communities, you've been reprogramming your mind. Now you have to actually trust yourself, what you've learned. You have to trust in you. You have to believe in yourself. If you have all of this knowledge and experience now, your gut will lead you the right way. Now, it might not always work, and that's okay, That just means it's another learning experience. But you also have to recognize when these opportunities, like we talked about, appear, and that, hey, this is something that I think I can do great at. This is something I think can help with my journey. I'm gonna follow it. Take the risk. Take the opportunity and go for it. Because it's like if you go back to the beginning where you have to start, if you just learn all this, but you're not implementing it and you're not actually driving for it, then it doesn't matter. It just means that you're gonna be stuck in the same place because you weren't able to go for this opportunity. Now, like I said, they might not all work out. They might not be exactly what you expected, but sticking to your gut and actually making these educated choices for it will help you be open to these long-term goals and long-term achievements that come from it. So if you learn anything from this book, it should be writing down specific financial goals, committing to daily learning about money management for your specific situation, surrounding yourself with people who support financial success and support you getting there, and then also taking action now. As soon as this video is over, you take action and you jump into it. Now, the book also covers the 6 ghost fears that are in your mind and your mindset, especially when it comes to wealth. It goes over the fear of poverty, the fear of criticism, the fear of health, the fear of loss of love, the fear of old age, as well as the fear of death. It kind of all talks about how these affect your decisions and how it sets up you not achieving that financial success. We'll dive deeper into that in a different video because the 6 of these are a great way that once you overcome them, it is something that can really set you up for a great financial future, mentally as well as physically. If that video is up, it'll be here. If not, there's gonna be a bunch of other ones about financial success, about budgeting, credit cards, and a great way to continue to improve your financial knowledge. But until then, I'll see you guys next time.